Hey, it's me, Nisha. If you're watching this, maybe you're standing where I stood 3 years ago. Zero English. No fancy words, no grammar. Not even confidence to say, hi. I used to hide in the back of class when they asked us to speak in English. I'd pray no one would talk to me in English at work. And forget movies. I had to watch them with subtitles in my native language, and even then, I barely understood anything. But today, I make YouTube videos in English. I talk to foreigners without panic. And I read novels in English just for fun. So if you're wondering how to start learning English from zero, this is not a lecture. This is my full story, my struggles, my embarrassing mistakes, my wins, and most importantly, every single step I took to go from zero to fluent. So grab a cup of tea, sit back, and let's talk like best friends. I promise, if I can do it, you definitely can too. Part 1. The real beginning, where I actually started. Let me paint you a picture. I grew up in a small town, the kind where English is only heard in textbooks or government forms. My school taught it, yes, but you know how it goes. They taught grammar like a math formula. No one actually spoke it. At home, my parents didn't know English. We spoke our local language all the time. And honestly, I never thought I'd need English. Until life hit me. The moment was small, but it broke me. I was at a job interview. The interviewer smiled and asked, "Tell me about yourself." I froze. I couldn't even say, "My name is Nisha, and I'm from XYZ." My throat locked. My palms got sweaty. And the worst part? He switched to my local language after 5 seconds, with pity in his eyes. That day I cried. Not because I didn't get the job, but because I felt useless, like I was watching the world through a glass window but couldn't enter it. That was the moment I decided, I'm going to learn English. From zero. No shortcuts. Part 2. The first step. Why you need to fall in love first. Before I even opened a grammar book, I made a promise to myself. I will not treat English like a subject. I'll treat it like a friend. So the first thing I did, I picked something I loved. For me, it was K-dramas and YouTube vlogs. I loved watching them. So I started watching them in English with subtitles. Not to study, but just to listen. At first, I didn't understand 90% of it. But I didn't give up. Here's what I did. I chose videos where people talk slowly, like travel vloggers or storytime creators. I turned on English subtitles. No more subtitles in my native language. That way, my brain slowly started connecting sounds to words. And I didn't pause. I didn't rewind. I just kept watching, even if I didn't get it. This helped me train my ears. That's step 1, my friend. Listen a lot. Even if you understand nothing, just listen like a baby listens before speaking. Part 3. The second step. Speak broken English proudly. I was scared to speak. Like, really scared. I thought people would laugh at my accent or wrong grammar. But I read something online that changed everything. Fluency is not about perfection. It's about communication. So I made a crazy decision. Every day, I would record a 1-minute audio of myself speaking English. Alone. In my room. No audience, no pressure. At first, it was like this. Hi, my name, Nisha. I like music. I am go to shop today. Cringe? Maybe. But I didn't stop. Every day, I tried to say just a little more. Some days, I read lines from books. Some days, I talked about my day. And slowly, my tongue started cooperating. My brain didn't freeze anymore. So here's my tip to you. Speak out loud every single day, even if you're just talking to yourself. You don't need a partner in the beginning. You are enough. Part 4. The third step. Build your starter vocabulary. Let's be real. You can't speak a language without words, but don't start by memorizing the dictionary. I created what I call my survival vocabulary. It's about 200 to 300 words you need in daily life. Here's how I made mine. I wrote down 10 sentences I say every day in my native language. Then I translated them to English with help from Google Translate and later real English videos. I picked up common verbs like go, come, eat, sleep, talk, like, want, do, make, and basic nouns food, water, friend, family, house, job, phone. I also learned simple connecting words and, but because, if, so. I didn't learn elephant, parliament, or photosynthesis first. I learned I'm hungry and where's the bathroom. That's what you should do too. Build vocabulary around your life. Write it in a notebook. Review it every day. Use flashcards if you want. Part 5. The secret weapon, shadowing. Okay, here's a technique that helped me sound more natural and less like a textbook. It's called shadowing. Basically, I would play a video in English, maybe 10 seconds long, and try to copy it exactly. The tone, the rhythm, even the pauses. So if the person said, "Hey guys, welcome back to my channel," I would pause the video and repeat it the same way. "Hey guys, welcome back to my channel." This helped my pronunciation so much. I didn't sound robotic anymore. I shadowed vloggers, actors, TED speakers, even cartoons. It felt silly, but I swear it was magical. If you want to try it, start with slow YouTube vlogs, audiobooks, English songs with clear lyrics, like Disney songs. Do it for 15 minutes a day. That's all. Part 6. Don't fear grammar. Use it like a map, not a wall. I avoided grammar at first because it felt boring. But when I started writing sentences, I realized I needed some structure. So I took a different approach. Instead of memorizing rules like present perfect continuous, what even is that name? I started learning patterns. For example, I am plus verbing. I'm going, I'm eating, I'm studying. I have plus past participle. I have eaten, I have finished, I have gone. I learned the most common tenses first. Present simple, I eat rice. Present continuous, I'm eating rice. Past simple, I ate rice. Future, I will eat rice. That's it. I didn't go deep into passive voice or conditionals in the beginning. Learn grammar like it's a tool, not a subject. Use it to make your sentences stronger. That's all. Part 7. Reading, the silent superpower. I started reading children's books. Yes, actual kids' books. Don't laugh. They're easy, fun, and have simple sentences. Later, I moved to short stories, then blog articles, and finally novels. Reading helped me learn sentence structure naturally, pick up new vocabulary and context. Think in English. You don't need to read Shakespeare. Read anything you enjoy. Even Instagram captions count. Start small, but stay consistent. 10 minutes a day equals 300 minutes a month, equals massive progress. Part 8. Writing, the final muscle. Writing helped me tie everything together. Every night, I wrote 5 lines in a diary, in English. Stuff like, "Today, I woke up late. I ate bread and tea. I watched a video. I learned 2 new words, excited and early. I want to sleep now." No fancy words, just honest journaling. It made my thinking sharper. It helped me see where I was making mistakes. Later, I joined an online English writing group. We corrected each other's work. You don't need to do that now. Just start with 5 lines a day. Write your feelings. Write your dreams. Just write. Part 9. What to do when you feel stuck. Yes, I wanted to give up many times. Sometimes I felt like I was improving. And then suddenly, I couldn't speak again. That's normal. Language learning is not a straight line. It goes like this: up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Here's what helped me during the hard days. I watched my old voice recordings to see how far I'd come. I reminded myself, even babies take years to speak well. I stopped comparing myself to fluent people and focused only on me. If you feel stuck, take a break, then come back. Even when it feels like you're not learning, you are. Part 10. My tools and resources. What I actually used. Here's what I used in my journey. YouTube channels. Speak English with Mr. Duncan, English Addict, English Class 101. Apps. Duolingo, for fun. Anki, for flashcards. Hello Talk, to talk to real people. Books. The Little Prince, simple and deep. Diary of a Wimpy Kid, funny and casual. Dictionary. Cambridge Online Dictionary. I checked pronunciation there too. Podcasts. The English We Speak, BBC. Voice of America Learning English. Remember, tools are just tools. You are the one who must use them. A day in my early English learning life. 5:30 a.m. Morning affirmations and listening. I'd wake up before sunrise, brew a strong cup of chai, and sit by my window. While I sipped, I'd press play on a 5-minute English podcast, 6-minute English, from the BBC. I didn't chase every word. I just let it float in the background as I mentally rehearsed, I can learn English. I deserve to learn English. Tip. Morning is prime time for listening without distractions. Even 5 minutes builds your ear muscle. 7 a.m. Speak to yourself. Mirror practice. After getting ready, I'd stand in front of the mirror for 2 minutes. I'd narrate what I was doing. I am brushing my teeth. I am putting on my shoes. I will eat breakfast soon. If I stumbled on a word, I'd laugh, pause, and repeat. No shame. Just practice. Pro trick. Record these mirror sessions on your phone. Replay them weekly to see how much you improve. 8:30 a.m. Commuting with purpose. During my 30-minute bus ride, instead of scrolling social media, I'd open a survival vocabulary flashcard deck on Anki. Each card had one sentence in English and my native language. I'd whisper the English sentence under my breath. Why whisper? It's less awkward in public, but still helps your mouth form new sounds. 12:30 p.m. Lunchtime conversation goals. At work, I set a mini goal. Talk in English for at least 2 minutes with any coworker. Usually, I started with something safe. Hi, how are you today? I like this weather. Sometimes I'd fumble. They'd switch to our native language and say, It's okay, you're learning. Those words felt like fuel. 5 p.m. Shadowing session, 20 minutes. After work, I'd spend 20 minutes on shadowing. I found short news clips, 30 seconds long. Play, pause, repeat. I'd imitate the anchor's intonation so that by the end, I sounded like a mini news anchor, albeit with a slight accent. Pro tip: choose content that interests you. I loved cooking shows, so I shadowed Jamie Oliver's intros before trying actual cooking. 9 p.m. Reading and writing combo, 30 minutes. Before bed, I'd read one page of a children's novel and then write a one-sentence summary in my diary. Read. Once upon a time, there was a kind fox. Write. A kind fox lived in a forest and helped other animals. This read and write loop locked new structures into my brain. The first 30 days, measuring tiny wins. I didn't wait until I felt fluent to celebrate. I tracked micro wins. Day 3, Understood 3 out of 10 words in a song. Day 7. Recorded a 2-minute monologue without pausing. Day 15. Ordered food fully in English at a cafe. Day 30. Watched a 5-minute English tutorial and understood the main idea. Each time, I jot it down in a progress journal. Seeing that list grow kept me going when I wanted to quit. Dialogue. My first real English conversation. Let me share an embarrassing but epic moment. I joined a free language exchange meetup in my city. My heart pounded as I sat in a circle of strangers. The host asked, "What's your favorite movie?" My brain went blank. I froze for a full 5 seconds. Then I blurted out, "My favorite movie is I panicked. My palms were sweaty. I almost escaped to the bathroom, but then I remembered communication over perfection. So I leaned in, took a deep breath, and said, "I really like Toy Story. It makes me happy." Suddenly, everyone smiled. Someone asked, "Why Toy Story?" And the conversation flowed naturally for 10 minutes. They asked questions. I answered. I laughed when I pronounced happy funny. It was complete chaos and magic. Lesson: real conversations will feel messy, but they're the fastest way to level up. Step 11. Immersion beyond your screen. After a few months, I craved deeper immersion. Change your phone's language to English. Switch your social media feeds to English-only accounts. Cook an English recipe without translation. I tried making pancakes following a Food Network video. It was a sticky, flour-covered disaster, but I learned whisk, batter, flip, and grease forever. Every time I struggled, I forced myself to look up the missing word in my Cambridge Dictionary app instead of reverting to my native language. Step 12. Embrace mistakes publicly. I started posting short English videos on Instagram Reels. I'd share 3 things I love about English. My heart raced every time I hit post. Comments poured in, some pointing out my errors, most cheering me on. I'd laugh, fix my script for next time, and press record again. This public vulnerability did 2 things. Accountability, I couldn't slack off. Confidence, the world didn't end when I made mistakes. Dealing with plateaus around month 6, I hit a plateau. My speaking felt stuck. My listening felt slow again. It was demotivating. Here's my battle plan. Switch content type. I explored audiobooks. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Listening only for pleasure, not study. Find a language partner. I met a native speaker on HelloTalk who taught me slang and idioms. Suddenly, "What's up?" and "No worries" clicked. Take a mini course. I joined a 4-week online course on phrasal verbs. It was only once a week, but gave me productive structure. After that plateau, my progress curve shot up again. Building advanced skills. Month 7 to 12. As I passed the 1-year mark, I shifted focus. Idioms and expressions. Break the ice. Hit the books. On the fence. I learned 1 idiom per day and used it in a sentence. Deep listening. Podcasts like This American Life at normal speed. I paused to jot down new phrases. Creative writing. I started a short story project using only English. My first story was a quirky tale about a talking parrot that gave bad advice. By month 12, I was dreaming in English at least once a week. That's when I knew I'd truly crossed from zero to intermediate. Mindset, the invisible engine. Let me share the 3 mindset shifts that kept me going. Learner's mindset. Every mistake is a lesson. When someone corrected me, I said, "Thanks, I learned something new." Compounding habits. 10 minutes a day beats 1 2-hour cram session. Celebrate the you of today. I compared myself only to past Nisha, not to anyone fluent. Putting it all together. Your 90-day blueprint. If you want a distilled roadmap, here's what I'd do in your first 90 days. Phase focus, daily habit. Minutes. Weekly goal, days 1 through 30. Listening and speaking confidence. Listening 15. Speaking 5. Record a 1-minute audio every day. Watch 3 English videos with subtitles. Days 31 to 60. Vocabulary and shadowing flashcards. 10. Shadowing 15. Learn 100 survival words. Shadow 50 sentences. Days 61 to 90. Reading and writing. Reading 10. Writing 5. Read 1 short story. Write 10 diary entries. Follow this. Adapt to your schedule and check off each mini goal every week. That's how progress multiplies. Diving into accent and pronunciation 1. Funny thing. People always told me, you need to lose your accent. But honestly, your accent is part of you. Here's how I worked on clarity without erasing my identity. Phoneme focus. I picked the 5 English sounds I found hardest, like the TH in think or the V in very. I watched pronunciation videos. Rachel's English on YouTube is a gem, and practiced those sounds in isolation, then in words, then in sentences. Minimal pairs. Words like ship versus sheep, bat versus bad. I made lists and recorded myself, again, those 1-minute audios, to hear the difference. Mouth mirror. I placed a small mirror on my desk to watch my tongue and teeth positions when I spoke. Sometimes I realized I was curling my tongue too much, or my jaw was locked. Shadowing with emotion. Instead of just copying words, I tried to match the feeling. Anger, sadness, excitement. When you speak with genuine emotion, your mouth shapes naturally fall into place. Over months, my accent softened. But when I spoke to friends from my hometown, they still heard that familiar home in my voice, and I loved that. Using English in my career a year into learning, an unexpected opportunity knocked. My company partnered with a UK-based client. They needed someone to draft emails and join video calls in English. I raised my hand and said, "I'll give it a try." My first client call was terrifying. Client, smiling, "Good morning, Nisha. How are you today?" Me, voice shaky, I am good. Thank you. How are you?" They replied normally. No slow speech, no baby English. My heart raced, but I leaned in. Because I'd practiced small talk, "Nice weather, isn't it?" and negotiation phrases, "Could you please clarify?" I managed to contribute. After the call, my manager patted me on the back. "Great job holding your ground in English." From that point, I started writing weekly reports in English, leading to a promotion 2 months later. That was when it clicked. English didn't just open doors, it built my career. Cultural fluency. Beyond words language isn't just vocabulary and grammar. It's culture. I wanted to think in English contexts, not just translate from my native language. TV and film deep dive. I watched British shows like The Crown and American sitcoms like Friends, paying attention to humor, sarcasm, and idioms. When Chandler said, "Could I be any funnier?" I'd rewind, laugh, and jot down that "could I" structure. News and opinions. I followed newspapers like The Guardian and online magazines like Vox. Reading opinion pieces taught me how writers build arguments. Firstly, furthermore. However, book clubs. I joined 2 online book clubs, one American, one British. Every week, we'd discuss a chapter. At first, I clung to Google Translate. By the 3rd book, I was debating character motives entirely in English. That immersion taught me subtle cues, politeness levels, humor styles, references to pop culture, everything that makes you feel like a true insider, teaching others, reinforcing my own skills. They say the best way to learn is to teach. To put this into action, I tutored beginners. I started a free English hour at our community center. Explaining basic tenses to complete newbies made me really understand them myself. YouTube Shorts. I created 60-second videos breaking down one word or one expression at a time. Teaching how to use get along, or difference between say and tell, forced me to research each nuance. Language challenges. Every month I set a challenge, like use the past perfect 10 times today, and encourage dozens of learners to join. Writing the challenge prompts and answering their questions sharpened my own knowledge. Through teaching, I noticed gaps I never realized. Tiny prepositions, collocations, phrasal verbs that I then looped back to study and master. The real power of community I didn't learn in isolation. Here's how I built my support network. Study buddy. I paired with a friend who spoke slightly better than me. We met twice a week to quiz each other on new words and role-play scenarios, job interviews, ordering coffee, making complaints. Accountability group. A WhatsApp group of 5 learners from around the world. Each morning, we posted our English goal of the day and celebrated wins every evening. Language exchanges. Apps like Tandem and HelloTalk connected me with native speakers who wanted to learn my language. We'd swap corrections. They'd fix my English. I'd fix their Hindi or Tamil. Having people to cheer you on, correct you gently, and commiserate on bad days. There's nothing more motivating. Cracking idioms, slang, and phrasal verbs. Advanced English is full of tricky bits. I tackled them head-on. Idioms jar. I wrote one idiom per index card. Hit the nail on the head. Bite off more than you can chew. Let the cat out of the bag. Every night, I picked a card, used it in a sentence, and sent a voice note to my study buddy. Slang Saturdays. Once a week, I watched a slang compilation video, stuff like on fleek, spill the tea, throw shade, and noted when and how to use it appropriately. Phrasal verb marathon. I collected 30 common phrasal verbs, look up, run into, get over, put off, etc., and wrote a short story using all of them. It was silly. A detective ran into a ghost, looked up clues, got put off by a noisy parrot, but it stuck in my memory. By the end of year 2, I was comfortable using these in everyday conversation, which truly made me sound like a native. Traveling with English in month 18, I finally booked a solo trip to London. Imagine me, a girl who once hid from English, now boarding a plane to an English-speaking country. Airport moment. My heart raced at Heathrow's arrivals gate. A man behind the counter asked, "Purpose of your visit?" I smiled, took a breath, and said, "Tourism and improving my English." He handed me my boarding pass and chuckled. "Well said." On the tube, I asked a local, "Which line goes to King's Cross?" He gave clear directions. I thanked him, no Google Translate required. At a cafe, I ordered a flat white and a bacon buddy. The barista even complimented, "Your English pronunciation is really good." That trip was a confidence explosion. Traveling forced me to apply everything I'd learned, from survival phrases to phrasal verbs, in real time. And I didn't just survive, I thrived. Long-term growth. My 5-year vision. I still set goals. Today, they look like public speaking, deliver a 10-minute TEDx-style talk in English, no script on my hands. Creative writing, publish a short story collection in English. Language coaching, launch an online course teaching exactly how I went from 0 to fluent. And the secret behind these big goals? The same small habit mindset. Break each into daily actions. Your next steps. At this point, you might be thinking, "That's amazing, Nisha, but where do I begin right now?" Here's your ultra-condensed action plan. Pick your passion content, music, podcasts, dramas, something you genuinely love. Set your tiny habit. 5 minutes listening, 5 minutes speaking. Use a timer. Build your 200-word survival list. Write it on index cards or an app. Review every day. Record yourself, 1 minute per day. Revisit your old recordings weekly. Find your tribe. A partner, a group, a coach. Someone who'll hold you accountable. Remember, progress compounds. 5 minutes daily becomes 35 minutes weekly, 2 hours monthly, 24 hours yearly. That's one whole day of focused learning every year. Final words from Nisha. I'm so proud of you for sticking with this video. If you take one thing away, let it be this. Language is not a mountain to conquer. It's a path to walk. One step, one word, one conversation at a time. Every stumble is a sign you're pushing your limits. Every tiny win is proof you can do this. Stumbling blocks I never saw coming even after 2 years. I ran into unexpected traps. Over-editing myself. I spent more time mentally correcting each sentence than actually speaking. Solution: I set a no-edit timer, 5 minutes where I'd speak or write without pausing to fix anything. Then I'd review afterward. Resource overload. I tried 50 apps, 5 courses, 3 books at once, and learned nothing deeply. Fix. I narrowed down to 2 core tools at a time, one for listening, one for speaking, and use them daily. Motivation dips. On some weekends, I felt burned out. My hack: theme weekends. One weekend was movie marathon, only English films. The next was flashcard fiesta, creative flashcard games. And another was foodie English, cook and narrate recipes aloud. Every time I hit a wall, I experimented with tiny tweaks. never a complete overhaul. Those micro adjustments kept my momentum alive. Anxiety, stage fright, and how I overcame them, public speaking in my second language, was terrifying. My heart would race, my mouth would dry, and sometimes I'd completely blank out. Here's how I tamed that beast. Visualization. Before a live practice session, I'd close my eyes and imagine myself speaking confidently. I pictured nodding listeners, friendly faces, supportive clap, power poses. I learned from Amy Cuddy. 2 minutes of standing like a superhero, hands on hips, chest open, before I hit record. It's ridiculous, but it worked. Small audiences first. I started by presenting to my cat, then to a mirror, then to one friend, then to a group of 5. Scaling up slowly made the leap to 20 people feel less scary. Pause and breathe. When my heart raced, I paused mid-sentence, took a slow breath, and continued. Silence is okay. It makes you sound more thoughtful. Over time, stage fright morphed into a kind of excitement. Now, butterflies in my stomach mean I care, and that energy can be channeled into a powerful delivery. Rapid fire practice. 10 exercises you can do today. Ready for some hands-on drills? Pick just one of these and spend 5 minutes on it. Echo song. Sing the chorus of your favorite English song, then immediately sing it again, matching pitch and rhythm. Question chain. Ask yourself 10 why questions, e.g., why do I love learning English? And answer each in one sentence. Picture story. Open Google Images. Pick a random photo and narrate what's happening in 5 sentences. News bullet. Watch a 30-second news clip and summarize it in one tweet-style sentence. Max 280 characters. Shadow dialogue. Find a 15-second movie clip, mute it, and act out both sides. Record and compare. Idioms in action. Pick an idiom, e.g., break the ice, and weave it into a silly 2-sentence story about your morning. Flashcard flip. Take 5 flashcards, say the English side, flip, then explain the meaning in your own words. Speed writing. Set a 3-minute timer and write nonstop about my perfect day in English. Don't edit. Pronunciation mirror. Spend 2 minutes on your trickiest sound. Watch your mouth. Repeat theta or V words without looking away. Role play call. Pretend you're calling customer service about a lost package. Write or speak the full script. Greeting, problem, request, closing. Choose one every day for a week and notice how quickly your confidence and your skills rocket. Celebrating wins. The rituals that kept me going. I made sure to honor every milestone, no matter how small. Weekly win jar. Every Friday, I wrote one success on a slip of paper, understood a native podcast, shadowed without pausing, used a new idiom in chat, and dropped it in a jar. On tough days, I'd read those notes. Monthly, share and cheer. I posted one progress update to my community group, often a short voice note saying what I'd improved. Their cheers fueled me for the next month. Quarterly, treat yourself day. Every 3 months, I rewarded myself. New notebook, favorite snack, a movie night, in recognition of all the effort I'd invested. Acknowledging wins creates positive feedback loops. It tells your brain, yes, this works. Let's keep going. Maintaining fluency. Don't let it slip away. Once I reached an intermediate level, I realized learning doesn't end. It just changes shape. Here's how I stayed sharp. Weekly review sessions. Every Sunday evening, I revisited the past week's notes, flashcards, and recordings. I kept a language log in an app, so it was easy to scroll back. Diverse input. I rotated through news podcasts, audiobooks, webinars, panel discussions, you name it. That diversity meant I never got comfortable with one accent or style. Project-based goals. Instead of random practice, I worked on tangible projects. Write a short play, host a 10-minute webinar, co-author a blog post with a friend. Real projects force you to apply multiple skills at once. Maintaining fluency is about consistent, varied use, not endless drills. The unexpected perks of learning English beyond career boosts and travel freedom I gained. Cognitive agility. My brain felt sharper. I was better at multitasking, problem solving, and creative thinking. Cultural curiosity. I dove into world history, literature, and music that I'd never have discovered otherwise. Lifelong friendships. From Zoom pen pals to in-person meetups, I connected with people in Brazil, Japan, Nigeria. Lifelong bonds formed through language. Self-belief. Perhaps the greatest gift was realizing I could learn anything with persistence. English was just the first mountain I climbed. A live script excerpt. Role play between Nisha and her mentor scene. Nisha sits at her desk on a video call with her mentor, Alex, a native speaker and language coach. Alex. All right, Nisha. Today let's focus on little words, prepositions, and articles. They trip up most learners. Nisha, nodding. Yes, I noticed I sometimes say in the home instead of at home. Alex. Exactly. Let's practice 10 sentences. I'll say one first. Alex reads, She arrived at the airport on time. Nisha repeats, She arrived at the airport on time. Alex. Great. Now you try. He's interested the music. Nisha, thinking, He's interested in the music. Alex, smiling, Perfect. Notice how in the flows together. And so my story rolls on, with each new twist reminding me that language learning never really stops. It just evolves. After that London trip I told you about, I dove headfirst into a personal experiment, building my own English blog and website from scratch. I'd always been shy about writing long pieces, but I decided I needed a portfolio of my words, proof that I could think, research, and persuade in English. I began by picking a simple platform, WordPress, and spent an afternoon reading tutorials in English, pausing every time a line of code or a new term showed up. Widgets, permalinks, SEO. All of it was new vocabulary, and I learned it by doing. My first blog post was embarrassingly short, a 300-word piece called Why I Love Learning English. I fumbled over every sentence, but I posted it anyway. The next morning, I woke to 3 comments. One was a typo correction, it's versus its. Another was praise from a fellow learner, and the last was a question, how do you stay motivated? I realized then that blogging wasn't just practice, it was community. I answered each comment in English, and each reply honed my writing, and taught me new ways to phrase encouragement. Around that time, I decided to prepare for an English proficiency exam, not because I needed a certificate, but because I'd never formally measured my skills. I chose the IELTS academic module. My study plan looked like this: 2 months of weekly mock tests, daily reading of sample essays, and listening to TED Talks at 1.2 times speed, jotting down the newest 5 words in my academic flashcards deck. When exam day came, I walked into the center with sweaty palms but a clear mind. 2 weeks later, I found out I scored an 8.0 overall. That score? It was the fuel I needed to believe that zero to proficiency was not just a story arc. It was a real, measurable journey I'd completed. But the blog and the exam were not my final stage. In year 3, I launched a small online course, Survival English for Beginners, on a teaching platform. I scripted video lessons, all in English, recorded them, and wrote quizzes. The biggest challenge was subtitling my own accent so that absolute beginners could follow along. I learned simple video editing skills and clear subtitle formatting. Within a month, 50 students had enrolled. They posted questions on my course forum, everything from "What's the difference between lend and borrow?" to "How can I improve my listening speed?" Answering them forced me to revisit basic rules, idioms, and colloquialisms, and to find fresh ways of explaining them. All the while, I kept pursuing my secret love: poetry. I'd always been enamored by Emily Dickinson's short lines, so every Sunday morning, I wrote a 4-line poem in English. Sometimes it rhymed, often it didn't. Sometimes it was silly. Coffee smells like promise. Other times it was tender. Moonlight stitches, night to dreams. Sharing these on Instagram brought native speakers into my circle, who offered not just corrections, but interpretations I'd never dreamed of. They read my lines and described what emotions they felt. That feedback loop deepened my sense of nuance, of how a single word can shift a poem's tone from wistful to hopeful. In year 4, I took on my biggest challenge yet: public speaking. I applied to speak at a local Toastmasters club, performing a 5-minute speech entirely in English. My topic? The day I said hello to the world. I wrote the script, practiced until my voice cracked, and recorded myself in front of a live audience of strangers. My first delivery was shaky. I stumbled over world and hello, but the club president gave me gentle feedback. Slow down on your key phrases. Let the audience feel each word. I went back, rewrote those lines, rehearsed in front of my phone camera and my cat, then returned 2 weeks later. This time, the applause lasted longer than I expected. Standing there, I realized that learning a language is not just about vocabulary and grammar. It's about sharing your story, your truth, in another tongue, and having people listen. Around that same time, I discovered the magic of labeling. In my small apartment, every object got an English label: mirror, cupboard, spice rack, trash bin. I walked through my space every morning and named each thing aloud. It was like living inside a giant flashcard deck, and it rewired my brain to associate objects with their English names so quickly that even surprised guests would hear me say, "Don't forget your umbrella," as they left. Meanwhile, I built a habit I call tech-free English time. Every evening from 9 to 9:20, I turned off all screens and spent 20 minutes either reading a paper book in English or writing a letter, yes, an actual paper letter, to a pen pal I'd met in Australia. The tactile act of holding a pen and paper slowed my thoughts in the best way. It made me choose each word more deliberately. As my fifth year dawned, I looked back on zero and felt an unmistakable thrill. I remember that first shaky, "My name is Nisha," like it was carved in stone. Now, here I was collaborating on an international podcast, interviewing experts in climate science, and scripting episodes entirely in English. And you know what? I still slip up. Last month, I accidentally said, "I have 20 years old," instead of, "I am 20." I laughed, corrected myself on the spot, and moved on. Because that's the rule I live by. Every mistake is a step forward. So where do you go from here? Wherever you are, whether you've never spoken an English word or you're already halfway fluent, remember this: your journey is yours. Design it with the tools and topics you love. If you adore cooking, narrate your recipe in English. If you draw, write captions for your sketches. If you game, join English-speaking communities and share strategies. Sit down today and dream up one small project, 5 minutes a day project, that forces you to use English in a way that excites you. And when you do, write me a line. I'd love to hear your story. Because every time someone starts from zero and takes that first step, like you did by watching this video, another chapter of this endless adventure begins. Here's to your journey and to every word you'll speak, write, and share. You've already started. Now go make your English story as rich and surprising as mine. I'll be here, cheering you on, one word at a time.